Instagram. What is up? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you guys. I'm so late this morning. I apologize. Um, I've been late for everything. I was trying to find some earrings. You guys ever watch that Friday movie, like way back in the day, like before your Jesus days? I'll keep it holy, right? Um, I was looking for like a pair of matching earrings, and the only movie line I had in my head was, on Friday when he was like, "Y'all ain't never got two things that match." He was like, Kool-Aid, no sugar, um, peanut butter, no jelly, ham, no burger. That's what I felt like looking for my earrings today. It's like I have a whole box full of earrings that just have one in it, and it's just this miscellaneous. They've been there for like 20 years. I'm like, dude, I need to just dump this out and, just get some new cheap earrings. So anyway, you guys, I hope you guys have had a great week. I'm definitely feeling better. Um, still feeling it a tiny bit, but I'm here and got enough energy to get on here and talk to you guys today. First off, you guys, I'm just so incredibly excited and blessed that you guys have supported me so much to make this book possible. Nuggets of Truth, okay? You guys can pre-order it. It's going to be released January 4th, 2023, and this wouldn't have been possible without you guys sending me your financial donations to get the contract paid off. So that was a huge blessing, and I thank you guys so much for just doing that. God working through you. So thank you. I hope you guys get the book. I'll do another video talking about it. I might talk about it again today, but I definitely want to jump into some things that I wanted to share with you guys that I was reading in so I've been reading the book of Matthew. So let me set this up a little bit. I was I can't remember the post I posted. It was maybe Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember what day it was. But anyway, something to do with our ability to look at reality and then being able to look at the results, So our ability to discern reality is going to determine the results that we have in our life, something to that effect. And, it made me think about that scripture in John. I didn't know, no, it wasn't in John. I thought it was in John, but it was actually Matthew 11. And so I decided I'm going to read all the scriptures up till Matthew 11 to try to get like a greater context. I only made it up through Matthew 9. So I didn't get to exactly where I wanted to be. But that whole idea of like, Jesus said, when John the Baptist came, it says that he came, John came neither drinking, and they say he has a demon. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, look, a glutton and a wine bibbler, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. But wisdom is justified by her children. Isn't it amazing that our perception is not always reality? And I really learned a lot about that going through my life coaching course. He really just kind of beat that into our heads. And the more I pondered that, it's like, it's really true because your perception can change as soon as you get new information at any point. And the way that, people were looking at John the Baptist was not accurate, right? I mean, Jesus just kind of called him out, but they thought that what they saw was right. And same thing with Jesus Christ, And so it just made me realize how important it is for us to kind of, be comfortable with looking at reality of our life. And this is why, another plug for the book, you guys. I'm so excited. You guys can't really see it on Facebook, but you guys have been seeing it. I walk you guys through my own process of, going through my own reality checks in my own life and using God's grace and love to do it. Because I'm telling you what, if you guys aren't stable in God's grace and love, it's going to be really hard for you to accept the truth of where you're at and what you need to forgive yourself. Have you guys ever become aware of a certain pattern you've been in for a long time? You realize how much it's not serving you, and now you have to make some different choices. And then you have to be able to forgive yourself for your whole life that you were like that and you didn't, you know what I mean? I went through that with the whole codependency thing, and I won't get into that right now, you guys, but I can relate to wow, I can't believe I behaved like that for my whole life. Didn't know what I was doing. Thinking about all the people I'm pretty sure I upset, with my unsolicited advice giving, all and not realizing what was happening. One thing that I realized from kind of being a person who used to worry and worry too much about other people is it was always dependent. Like I was always trying to get my piece from it because I didn't have the courage to set limits with people when I needed to, right? Instead of just setting limits and knowing, my limitations, and that's really humility at the end of the day. I talk about that in the book. But I had to forgive myself for those things. And if you don't have God, if you don't really understand the function of God's grace and his love for you, then it's going to be really hard for you to accept who you've been up until who you realize you are now and who you want to be. And so anyway, whew, let's go ahead and so I want to just share some things I saw when I was reading Matthew this week. And the biggest theme, I guess, that kind of stuck out to me was you guys forgive me, my voice feels like it's kind of going out a little bit still. And so yeah. Um and we're here in Matthew 6, when Jesus is like talking about the law, he was like, for hold on, wait just a second. For it is written, you shall not do this and that. Okay, hold on, you guys. Oh yeah. He goes, and okay, this is chapter 5, Matthew 5. You've heard that it was said of those of old, you shall not murder. But he goes like, I tell you that if you're angry with your brother without cause, there's so many things that the Lord is dealing with. Like he's like, okay, you're following the law, but then he's literally making you scrutinize every area of your life, every intention, every attitude of your heart. And that can be super exhausting, you guys. You're just like, dang, Lord, you're kind of, what the heck? You can feel overwhelmed at times because of the demand of honesty that Christ demands from us, right? What he's looking for. I mean, he's truth. He is the light of the world. And if he's going to be in us, as we become like him, we're naturally going to become those people, right? Because we're the light of the world. But being that we're human and we have our own kind of flesh to contend with, our own memories, our own experiences, and those kind of things, and all the emotions that go with it, the perceptions that we formed. There's a lot that tries to get in the way of us kind of living in reality. And, but that's what Christ demands. And it's like you're reading through Matthew and you're just like, wow, Lord, this is hard, And, but as I got to Matthew 9, you get over here. Sorry, you guys. And, I'm going to move this mic down just a little bit. Okay. So, Jesus is hanging out with his disciples, and it says, who was it? It was the Pharisees. And the Pharisees saw it, and they said to his disciples, why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners? And when Jesus heard that, he said to them, those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice, for I did not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. And I was like, and then it goes on. And so look, hold on. Let me stop right there. I was like, okay, Lord, here you are. You're like laying it out for us. This is what's required. He's like, if you're going to, because he's like, I didn't come to abolish the law. So he's telling you the law. You can follow it. But he's like, are you paying attention to your motives and your intentions? How are you, who are you really while you're following the law? Have you ever met people who only do something because they really have another motive that has nothing to do with why they're doing what they're doing? What do they call those people? Duplicit, I think is what it's called. But people who will say they're doing a good thing, but that's not really why they're doing the good they're doing. They have another motive behind it. It's kind of, it's part of manipulation. It's deceit. There's a lot of things going on there. But again, like I said, Jesus requires his people to be so honest. And at the same time, I realized as I was looking at this, he was like, this is what I require of you. And I'm the only one who can heal you to do the thing that I'm asking you to do. And it was just like, it was such a relief. It's like, thank you, God, that though you require so much of us, he is the only one who can help you fulfill what he demands of you. Right. And you guys, I say this all the time. The same God who gave you the law is the same one who's going to give you the ability to follow it. Okay. He's not going to ask you to do something that he's not going to give you the revelation or the insight to do. Sometimes we try to do things outside of the revelation we have with God's word. And I talk about that in the devotional as well, where we try to do things but we don't have the insight. We don't really understand what God means when he said what he said. And so therefore, you guys, I'm gonna take these glasses off because I got the camera kind of close to me right now. It's just these glasses are bugging me right now. So we don't really know and understand what he's talking about, but we try to do it, but we're not doing it. And here's an indicator. This is how you know that your interpretation of God's word is not right, is when it feels like a burden. How many of you out there have been following God for a long time, but you feel like you're burdened at times. You guys, my whole Christian life was like that up until 7 years ago. My whole first 7 years of my Christian life, okay? I didn't get free until 7 years ago, okay? And that is really why, I was so excited to share with you guys nuggets of truth, because this is my journey, in a sense, a daily journey, right? I mean, one thing you'll notice when you get this book, it kind of seems like it's all over the place, because it's like it was basically I took my journal, um, like scripts every single day, and then I just kind of read them, and then I just kind of gave them a title. And they're a little bit different every single day. They don't. Some of them carry on from one day to another, and some of them are completely different. So when you read this, it's like, you'll be reading about one thing one day, and then it'll kind of switch it up another day. But then, as when you get done with it, it's really a complete thing, because the truth is, like for me, I was working on a lot of different things, when I was kind of coming out of my religious bondage that I was in. And that's going to be a whole nother book, you guys. I'm actually working on another one called Release Date, Gaining the Freedom I Didn't Know I Needed, something to that effect. And I'm writing about, how I came to know the Lord as a kid, and then how I got involved with, the local church, like how I started following the Lord, how I got involved, the fallouts that I had, what happened, what was the result of that, what happened when I got out of there, how did God, heal my life. I want to share that story because I think there's probably a lot of people out there who can relate to me in that way. But let's go ahead and go to the next part here, you guys. I don't know how long I've been on here for. Okay. What does it say? I can't even read that. Okay, 11 minutes. Okay, we're good. So, okay, so down here in Matthew 9, have you guys ever read that scripture when Jesus is saying, no one puts a piece of unstrung cloth on an old garment, for the patch pulls away from the garment and the tear is made worse? Nor do they put new wine into old wineskins, or else the wineskin break, the wine is spilled, and the wineskins are ruined. But they put new wine into new wineskins, and both are preserved. You guys ever read that and thought, what the heck is the Lord talking about? I did that for the longest time. And I didn't have really the revelation of it until I went through something I'm about to talk to you guys about. But let me back up a little more context here. So after Jesus is telling the Pharisees why he's hanging out with his disciples, right, which are tax collectors and sinners, and he goes, so then it says the disciples of John came to him saying, why do we and the Pharisees fast often, but your disciples do not fast? Right. And the Jesus is like, are you going to mourn if you have the bridegroom with you? He's like, no, you're not going to do that. And then he starts talking about this new wine and new wineskins, right? This is what the Lord's doing, and this is what he's doing with us, and this is what he'll do with you. So I'm going to share a story with you guys really quick, and then I'm sure this will kind of come to life for you a little bit. So this book that you guys are going to read, Nuggets of Truth, you guys do the work. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's when you go through this book and you read these questions, it's between you and God, right? You need to be seriously honest, though. No BS, no glossing anything over, no, well, I do it because, or whatever, no justification. Like, you do it or you don't, right? And why do you do it? Try to understand yourself. And here's the thing. I know that you don't have a lot of grace for yourself and that you're under condemnation if you can't answer the questions honestly. No one is there except for you, right? And the only way that this book is going to have any type of impact in your life is if you're 100% honest. Because if you're not honest, you're not seeing reality for what it is, and you're never going to move past where you're at. And I'm all about people making progress. I've made a ton of progress by the grace of God over these last 7 years, and I'm really passionate about sharing with you guys, and that's why I'm here. Anyway, well, this is kind of relevant, right? This is all part of the story. So back in 2017, went through this massive healing transformation in my life. And I had some friendships that were still with me. One of my best friends at the time, we had attended the same church for, long time. I think 10 years together. Well, we ended up both getting out of the same church. Well, I started reading some books. I started kind of like, I knew that I was in a hole. I knew I wasn't doing well, and I knew that things needed to change for me. So I was, have you guys ever felt resentful for like helping people because you've helped them too much? Again, you're like codependent, like I was as a kid. You learn not to, figure out what you needed and take care of your needs and your responsibility. So you start taking on the needs of other people to try to get yourself some peace. Right. And so I would like think that, okay, if I help help these people, that I'm going to feel better. Well, I started like carrying their burdens, getting burned out, getting stressed out. The church I was in, they had this motto called, they always said, if you have a couch, you have a ministry. And so anybody was supposed to sleep on your couch. It didn't matter who it was. Okay. Sex offenders, whatever. And it was like a general rule in the church that you didn't turn anybody down. And I support that 100%. However, I definitely felt frustrated by that at times, because I think at the time it was me and my husband, and gosh, I think we had 3 kids. We didn't have the resources financially or the mental capacity to help some of these people that needed the help they needed. Okay. But anyway, it was kind of, that was the rule. If you didn't do it, you weren't following the Lord, blah, blah, blah. Well, after going through years of that, I was very resentful, very frustrated, didn't have any boundaries with people, let people take advantage of me, super frustrated about that. And I finally started reading Boundaries from Dr. Henry Cloud, started implementing these things, started changing my life, right? Anyway, so time goes on, reading all these books, taking in this information. And I'm still really good friends with a friend of mine. She started coming over to my house, and, she was doing home church with me and everything. And, but I realized as time went on, I was like, we hadn't always been very good at telling each other what we needed. We kind of were 2 friends where we just kind of, and this is all from my perspective, right? Where we were really good at kind of knowing each other, but we didn't really say what we needed, right? I mean, you guys ever done that in a relationship? I know husband and wives can do that really well with each other, and then they get pissed if so-and-so doesn't read their mind. But in my friendship with her, we weren't really like super direct with each other, but we liked being around each other. We had a lot of fun. Anyway, but I finally realized that I was like, you know what? I realized that I needed more out of the relationship. I wanted to practice being more upfront and saying what I needed, and just, practicing those relational skills, because those are things I didn't do for like my whole adult life, And so I finally decided that I needed to talk to her about that kind of stuff. And I think one day, I was not very graceful as to how I was communicating. And I said something to the effect of, I couldn't imagine if we weren't friends anymore. Right. And so she was crushed, because she's like, oh, great. Now you're not going to be my friend anymore. So I went and met up with her. We had another conversation. And I just kind of sensed after that we just kind of really just started growing apart. And I didn't like that at all. But my motivation to be a new person, and as far as learning how to communicate, telling people what I needed, not just like expecting people to read my mind, being vulnerable that way, that was more important to me than it was to stay in old patterns. Okay. And so, over time, I think it was, I'm going to say maybe 9 months. We just grew further and further and further apart. And then one day, as a result of reflecting on our relationship, I kind of had this revelation. And this is where the wineskin thing comes in. So I have this friendship I've had for, 10 years. And we have been running off the same information together, same wavelength forever. Now, all of a sudden, I'm kind of on this different path in a way, right? I'm like looking for ways, like, Lord, I want to heal. I want to change my life. So I'm implementing these new things into my life. And basically it was like I had this image in my mind where it was like my new thoughts and ideas, I'm trying to pour them into her, but it's old wineskins. It's just like bursting at the seams. And so it was like our relationship just kind of fell apart. And it just made me realize that the wineskins in our life are our perceptions, right? Those are our thought patterns. Those are our ways of seeing things. And then sometimes when we have those old things and people come to us with new information, right? I'm trying to pour that into your old wineskin. I can cause you to burst. And this is kind of what was going on here with Jesus and his disciples, right? He's trying to literally he's giving everybody new wineskins. He's like, you got to learn how to see me differently. Because the way that the ones who were hired, per se, the Pharisees and all them, the way that they were communicating God was not what God had intended. Right. And so now it was like, everybody needs to start over. You all need new wineskins so you can get the new wine. So I was like, wow, I never really saw it that way. Right. But it helped me appreciate, kind of like, number one, how relationships can fall apart. Okay. And that can happen down the road with you. What can happen is you can start to evolve as a person because you are seeking healing in your life. You're wanting to do things differently, right? You want to have different relational dynamics and relationships. And maybe you want to go about a healthier way. And sometimes the people that you're with, they're not ready for that. And that was one of the hardest lessons for me to learn, you guys. I grieved that relationship. Gosh, I think it took me over a year, maybe 2. I think last summer. So that was what? Summer of 2022. And this fallout happened, it was like December. No, it was like February of 2020. So it took me 2 years to grieve that relationship. And, but at the same time, I knew what I needed to do for me, and I had to respect what was best for her. And I'll tell you right now, I wasn't always respectful as far as like I was. You know how when somebody basically wants you to leave them alone and you don't leave them alone? Like, I didn't leave her alone. I don't know how many times I still tried to reach out to her and talk to her instead of just like accepting. Hold on just a second. What you need? What?
What time are you guys going to leave?
Later, when mom's done.
Later?
Yeah.
Yay!
Anyway, so hey, good morning, Sue and Maria. Anyway, so where was I, you guys? I'm sorry. She knocked the thoughts out of my head. But yeah, I just realized that, wow, I had to respect where she was at. And, and here's the other thing I did, you guys. This was probably kind of a really jerk move. So we were supposed to meet up and have coffee. Well, I told you guys, I've been doing YouTube videos since like 2017, and I had the revelation about the wineskins and the wine, and it was pertaining to my relationship with her, but I was trying to like take that out as much as possible, but I shared that revelation on YouTube. Well, she watched the video. Oh God, that was it. She knew I was talking about her, even though I wasn't trying to talk about her. Like, I wasn't trying to say anything bad. I was just like, to me, it was very insightful, honestly, to realize, wow, this is why relationships sometimes fall apart. Again, you've got this new wineskin in your mind. You've got this new perception, right? And then you have new thoughts that can come through, because I'm telling you, if you got these old patterns of thought and people are coming with new stuff, you can resist that at times. You can burst, right? That's the point. Well, she definitely knows me well, right? She knew the situation. She was involved in it. She followed me and everything. And then she saw that and it was over at that point. And I was like, oh my God, and I look back on that and I wish I would have done things differently, but I didn't. And, I can learn from that. But, hey, hold on a second, you guys. Hey, what do you want? Seriously, I'm getting a little frustrated. You keep coming in here. What do you want?
Nickel said...
I'll deal with Nickel.
I said,
what?
So you're going to go later?
Yes, Nickel already knows this. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know this, but like every Friday, I take one of my kids out with me. And it's my son Nicholas's turn. And he always asks his little sister, hey, go ask mom when we're going to do this or that. And it's like, bro, you already know. Anyway, so yeah, the whole wineskin thing, I wanted to share that with you guys because the point is as you guys go on your own journey of healing in your life, and I'm really hoping that Nuggets of Truth is going to facilitate this for you, that you're going to, relationships can and potentially will grow apart. And it's a natural process because now you've got new wineskins with new wine. Okay. Uh-oh. My youngest is upset. Uh-oh. Something happened. Oh, you guys, I'm sorry. What happened? He did what?
He took my dough.
Okay. I'll deal with Nickel in a minute. Okay. I'm sorry that I'm not exactly sure what he took. You guys, I apologize. I told you I have to do this in real life with my children and everything. But I'll say this. I better probably hurry this up. As you guys go through this process, naturally, things are going to happen. Okay. And it's going to be really important that you guys pray as you go on this journey that God will send you relationships, or even relationships you have now. Go through this with somebody else. Okay. Like, reflect these new perceptions and ideas and stuff that you're going to read in here. Go through it with somebody that you love and you trust, and grow with them together. Grow with somebody on this journey. You know what you could do? You could like do this as a small group or something, and find people that you can go through this with, because If you do it alone, it's not going to stick very well. All right. You need a sounding board. You need somebody to talk to about this stuff. Oh, Lord Jesus. You took your cattail. She dressed up as a cat for Halloween like a couple years ago when she was like 2, and that's what her brother took. Okay, I'm sorry, babe. I'm in the middle of something. What was I gonna? You guys, I'm telling you. Okay, Ashley, get back on track. Here we go. Okay, that's what it was. Don't do this stuff alone. Find somebody that wants to grow. Okay, because if not, it's gonna feel very lonely at times. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Because when you're pioneering new paths in your life, breaking generational curses, walking in your purpose, your skills, and your talents, and you've never done that before, it's going to feel lonely at times. But God will give you the grace and the strength to do what He's called you to do. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know how many times I've wanted to give up on what I've done, but the fire in me and what God has got going on in me is so much greater. I can't resist it, no matter what. It's like a fire that burns. So it's like I can't resist what God is doing in me. And the same thing is going to happen with you. It's like you're going to be so motivated to continue to move forward and make progress in your life that what comes is what's going to come. And sometimes it does come at the cost of relationships with people that you've known for a long time. And it's hard. And I'm telling you, it's not easy, because I want you guys to, don't go into this with this, mindset of, okay, this is going to be easy. No, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy because you've lived your whole life a certain way for so long. However, if you are really truly ready to make progress in your life, if you want to figure out, if you want to get comfortable, number one, with the kingdom of God being in you. I mean, who doesn't want that? Let's just keep it real. Who doesn't want to be confident that God is in them and have peace with that? And then, not to mention, okay, Lord, you're in me. Like, I want to capitalize on the life you put in me. Like, what you have a purpose for my life. He's given you skills, He's given you talents. And if you don't start dealing with some of the things that are getting in the way of you making progress and figuring out who you are, right? Establishing who you are and character and your values, does anybody really want to die with regret? I mean, I don't. And I, like I told you guys yesterday, don't take your grace for granted. Okay. God has healed you to a degree. He's revealed Himself to you to a degree, and He's got greater degrees. He's going to do that. And you are the only person that can reach certain people with the story that you have. Okay. We don't have the same experiences, the same background. We're all different parts of the body of Christ, right? But the body knows its function. The heart knows its function. It's not like, oh man, I'm just the heart. I don't know what I'm doing. No, it's like, this is what I'm doing, bro. I'm pumping the blood, right? And it does it with authority. Can you imagine if your heart was not confident in its job? You would be dead, right? You would be dead. So you need to be confident in your function. And I say it all the time. Your function is just to pour out the grace of God in your life. And you can do that in the context of your story. And that's what's going to give you strength. You don't have to worry about, okay, courses are fine. And they're great in the context of if it like is helping you develop into, the person that you're becoming. But all I'm saying is, like, all you have to know is your story. All you have to know is what you've been through. Understand the different things you've been through that have shaped the person that you were, right? Think about what Paul did, right? His whole ministry was based upon who he was in the past. Like, dude, I used to kill Christians. I used to do this or that. He wasn't proud of it, but he didn't deny who he was. How many Christians don't necessarily deny who they are, but you don't know who they are, right? Nobody talks about who they were and how God really redeemed their life. You got to, that feels vulnerable, right? Nobody wants to be attacked. Nobody wants to be judged or criticized. Sometimes you can judge and criticize yourself. Like I said, if you don't have enough grace in you from God, you could judge yourself over how you've been. And, like I said, you can be in a certain pattern for so long, and then you realize it's not serving you. And then you're like, oh crap, time to wake up. Why did I do that? I wasted so much of my life. You sit there and beat yourself up. But the point is you don't need to make it super complicated. You just have to get comfortable with God loving you, God giving you grace, giving you love, receiving that from Him. And then, allowing His Spirit, His thoughts, His emotions, and His will to work on your spirit, right? And who you are. And in uncovering all the good stuff He put in you. God has put gold inside of you. And I want to emphasize a little bit nuggets of truth, kind of like the inspiration behind that. So it was like a few years ago. I was sitting in my old office before we moved out here, and I was looking at the bookshelf, And I was like, man, Lord, there's still so much I have to learn. It's like, dang, I got so much to learn. It's like, no, you don't, Ashley. It's like it's all in you. And I just my mind started thinking about every single book that anybody's ever written is just basically about their experiences, what they've learned, that kind of thing, right? And you learn and you have benefited from that, right? Or they've got some insight and they want to share it with the world. It's no different with you, right? It's like your value is already inside of you. You just have to cultivate it, right? These nuggets of truth. So when I say nuggets of truth, you're going to dig up insight in your life. That's going to give you those aha moments. And that's your nugget of truth. Truth is insight, right? It's like, wow, I never saw it that way. And that's not that I never saw it that way is going to be part of the foundation that's going to motivate you to continue to move forward and make progress in your relationship with the Lord and the plans he has, seeking him out like, Lord, what are my skills? What are my talents? Like when you actually just allow yourself to be who you are, right? Because I mean, most people know those things about themselves, but they don't really talk about it, And I'm trying to provoke people to figure that out, about themselves, about what they're passionate about doing and all this kind of everything. And, not just like in this weird way, but like, I guess, how can you say it? Your life experiences that you've had all tie into the things that you're naturally inclined to do. You guys, it's crazy. Did you know that when my mom and dad, I think I told you guys I grew up in like domestic violence household. And my stepdad and my mom, oh my gosh, they'd be going at it like every night. You guys have parents like that growing up, like screaming and yelling at each other every single night. And it's super exhausting as a kid. And I just remember trying to be the peacemaker. I would like go grab my dad's hand. He was my stepdad. He was like 6'2", 250-pound dude. And I grab his hand. I'd pull up a couple chairs. I'm like, come on, Dad, come sit down. I try to talk to him and understand. And I'm like, you know what? I've been doing this. I've been trying to understand and do this ever since I was a kid. So it was like, what I mean is there's things that you have natural inclinations to do, but you don't even realize it anymore. Because now sometimes we're adults and we forget about those things. And that's the other thing too, I will say. You better get real comfortable with your memories in life. Okay. God used so many of my memories to help me understand myself. Guys know how pivotal it is to understand who you are as a person. That's going to give you insight and revelation and authority to speak about what God's done in your life. You can't talk about nobody else's life except for yours. Why not be comfortable with it? I remember asking God, I was like, trying to understand. I remember one day, because I didn't know that. Do you guys ever think that your childhood never affected you? Like, seriously? I never thought mine did because I wasn't like my mom. I wasn't alcoholic and have like 5 different babies' daddies, right? All my kids are from the same dad ever since I was 15. I'm not an alcoholic, okay? So I was massively comparing myself to my mom. Like, I'm not like her. I'm nothing like my parents, right? And I never ever thought that my childhood had any impact on me, right? Until it like, I think I was reading some books about codependency and I didn't even know what the hell it was, honestly. And, but the fact that I worried so much about other people, and how I was always kind of like taking on other people's problems and burdens and giving unsolicited advice and doing all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I asked the Lord one day, I was like, Lord, where did that even come from? Like, how did I get into this habit of being like this with people? And he brought a memory to my mind, and I'm going to share this again just in case you're new to the page or whatever, but it's relevant. Brought a memory to my mind that I came home from school one day and my mom's like, hey, Ashley, you've been talking to the school, about what's been going on here. Cause my dad would physically abuse my mom every single night. And I finally just got tired of listening to it. And I started talking to my teachers at school because it made me feel better. I was like, if I talk to them about what's going on, it wasn't because I was trying to get my mom in trouble or go to CPS or anything like that. A little kid doesn't have that mentality, right? A little kid is just trying to like get some peace in their life. And that's all I was trying to do. I was trying to like take the pressure down that I was carrying inside of myself. So I was like, if I go talk to somebody I trusted my teacher, then I'll feel better. Well, of course, my teacher ended up calling CPS or, mandatory reporters. I don't know if that was like mandatory reporters back in the 90s, but it was like 1991 or something like that. Anyway, but my mom found out about it and she was like, Ashley, if you keep telling the school what's going on here, they're going to take you away. And the Lord helped me see that moment as a kid shifted everything for me. At that moment, I learned if I continue to take care of my problems my way, it's going to be a bigger problem to me. So I learned to sit there and like, okay, I guess now I just have to do what my mom wants me to do, and then I'll have some peace, right? So because number one, I didn't want to make it worse for myself. I wasn't. My mom told me, Ashley, if you go to a foster care, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get molested, and you're never going to see me again. A little 6-year-old kid does not want to get taken away from their mom, and I knew what molestation was because my mom told me all kinds of stuff. Okay, I knew a lot of things as a 6-year-old kid that I shouldn't have known. I'll tell you that right now. I knew a lot of stuff. And so I was like, oh, I don't want that. And I love my mom, and I knew my mom was already under a lot of stress. So I was like, well, I don't want to stress my mom out anymore. So do you see what happened there? Do you see how me growing up in that environment formed that pattern of me worrying more about what other people think? So you should think about that. Like if you can relate to me in that way, there's going to be a memory that God can bring to your mind if you're willing to go there. That's going to help you understand where that came from. Because a lot of times we do stuff, we become aware of it, we can judge ourselves, but then if you don't have the understanding and the insight to know where it came from, you can make yourself stay stuck in a situation that you could easily get out of if you had some insight. God will give you insight. Like, hey, it's not just there, right? I mean, you guys, we were formed in different environments by our parents for a time, and there's certain things that we've brought into our adulthood that we don't necessarily like, but we don't know why the hell we do what we do, right? We don't know why we're, like, I don't know why I was constantly giving unsolicited advice to people. I didn't understand it until that came to my mind. I was like, wow, I never saw it that way. Lord, thank you for that. And so make memory your servant on this journey. Allow God to bring memories to your mind that'll help you understand yourself, okay, and give you some context to why you behave the way you do and why you're in some of the situations you're in. And then that insight right there that you're going to get, that is going to be the nugget that you can give to other people. That's a nugget of truth for you, right? It's truth, and it's nugget because it's gold, because it's insight. And it's like, wow, this is extremely valuable. And so that's what nugget of truth is. It's about extracting those valuable insights in your life that are going to change your life. Okay, you guys? And that's what Nuggets of Truth did for me. These are just my own insights I had in the context of my life. And I go different places, you guys. At first I talk about like Peter, how do you I think it was called outside inside living, right? How do you behave around people that you perceive that have authority that you don't have? Right? I mean, this thing is so freaking loaded. But this is all coming from like different things I had to realize about myself, right? Like how I was behaving, like, wow, I was doing that. Why is that? And the why is that is going to be the point where God is going to bring memories to your mind to help you, give you the why is that. And those moments for you, that's going to be your nuggets of truth. That's going to be your insight. That's your gold, okay? That God's going to give, that he gave to you, that you can give to the world, okay? And that you can invest in and capitalize. That's really, you guys, when you think about it, you know how the Lord talks about using our talents and having an investment? That's how God's going to get his investment back. It's just by you having those insights and being able to share that, right? And I want to provoke you guys as much as I can to do that in the context of your life. Be comfortable in your own skin. Be comfortable with where you've been, where you're at. And I'm telling you, guys are going to change the world. I am so passionate about immobilizing the army of God, the church of God, as far as you finding God's grace in the context of your life. You guys, Daily Encouragement is founded, okay, back in 2017. And like daily encouragement. Why am I going to call daily encouragement, Lord? Why? Because man does not live on bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of him. I was like, oh, wow. So then it's like the slogan is finding Jesus in the context of the daily. Jesus is what? Truth. Finding truth in the context of the daily. Finding truth in the context of your life, in the context of your memories, in the context of things you've been through, in the context of where you're at and what you're thinking, and not judging yourself. And if you are judging yourself, I can talk. I swear, you guys. I talk about all that, how to get out from underneath judgment, and what condemnation is. You guys, I was stuck underneath that my whole freaking Christian life. And I was a Christian. I was a condemned Christian. Oxymoron, right? So weird, but it's so true. Anyway. All right, you guys. Well, I think I've said enough. I think that is all I have for today. I thank you guys for being on here. Thank you guys for your time. Instagram, you guys be sure to check out my book, pre-order. And Facebook, of course, you guys can. I am ordering 22 more copies. They'll probably be here, I don't know, maybe 10 days. I'm going to sign all of those. And if you guys want a signed copy by me, You guys can just pay me like through PayPal. I think that's all I have is PayPal. I think that's it. I don't know if I have any other like payment methods on here. But you guys can pay me through there, and then I can send you guys a signed copy of the book if you guys want a signed copy. If you guys want to just go through the bookstore, you guys can totally do that too. But what is it? Books A Million, Barnes and Noble. I think Walmart eventually will have it. Just go to your local bookstore and just be like, hey, do you got Ashley's book, Nuggets of Truth, Volume 1 from Ashley Campbell? Oh, yes, we do. Okay. I want to pre-order that. I'm actually going to go down to the Christian Publishing bookstore today and talk to them and, see if they can give me a shelf or see if they have me in the system or something like that. And anyway, you guys, I'm going to pop off here. Instagram, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Facebook, I'm going to check the comments really quick. Instagram, don't mind me. I got to look over here at the computer. Great message. Thank you, Sue. I appreciate you. I'm glad you guys appreciated the message. I hope it was helpful to you guys. You guys have an awesome weekend. If this video was helpful, be sure to share it. And I guess I'll talk to you guys next week or maybe sooner. Obviously, when is the 4th? I can't even, hold on. Let me see. What day is that? Next Wednesday. Oh, wow. It's kind of perfect timing. Yeah, I'll be back Wednesday, or if I have anything else I want to share with you guys, really. If I get inspired, I'll jump back on here, but usually you guys see me Wednesdays and Fridays. Super late today. I apologize, guys. I was late for everything. I was late starting my workout, late getting my work, makeup on, late, freaking late. But I'm here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys next time. And I hope you guys have a great weekend.